Welcome back to the ANS way. It's the day after we did Red Rock. I'm feeling, well, hopefully, yeah, you've watched that video, so I'm feeling a lot better. Still ill. I know it's not COVID. I've already had it. I've already had both of my inoculations, and I've got progressively better over the space of like 3 or 4 days.
And he hasn't lost your taste?
No taste. I know the feeling of what it was. I had it really bad, and it doesn't feel at all the same. But we have decided today to come to a place called Area 15, which I think is the area and the blocks. But within Area 15, I guess it's like an exhibition centre.
Yeah, like arts, different experiences, events they hold. I think they do different types of events here,
and
shows.
We're not watching, we're going to experience the Van Gogh experience they have here.
Yeah, apparently this particular exhibition goes around the US. I'm not sure if it's a global thing, probably. But we're going to visit here before it stops. I think it ends mid-August, I'm not sure. It's not, I think it's only, well, all the places they decide to park right where we are.
So it's a completely empty car park where we are, and they decided where we've picked, which is next to all of the other cars, that is the spot they need to.
Yeah, that was where they needed to park. To get into Area 15, it's free as far as I'm aware. But to do the actual experience, the Van Gogh, there's a price, I'm not sure, I think it's about $35. Would be cheaper if you have your Nevada resident card.
Yeah, which I don't think we're going to get anytime soon. So yeah, anyway, we're not going to take you on the experience because it says you can't have any professional recording equipment, even GoPros they're funny about. And we've got this on a massive gimbal, and it's got exchangeable detachable lenses. They said they won't accept. So we're going to go and experience it ourselves, but we thought we'd give you a full update today.
Yeah.
So we'll show you some of the clips of the place. As you come into the building, it's pretty amazing. You don't walk straight into the exhibit that you're going to. You walk into this main area. There's loads of artwork, people flying around on those things, but I managed to talk us into our discount. So I just said, how do we prove it? Explained that we can't get our state ID. And then he's like, okay. And then I said, what did we say? I said, you can look at our YouTube videos if you want, which proves we've moved here. And then he's like, oh, which crossroads you work on? I was like, we don't work like that. So I just told him. I did remember. Yeah, I told him where we lived, and then he's like, okay, fine, just take it, it's fine.
So we got, it was $25 each in the end, as opposed to, I think it's like 30 something, so saving, I like that.
So we're gonna have a quick look around the main entrance area, and then we're gonna go into our exhibit at 1:30. Hopefully you can hear, I don't know if I'm covering the mic, but we just finished the Van Gogh experience.
The Van Gogh immersive experience. It's good, I liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It'd be better if you were on mushrooms, but it was still really good. And I think it's more interesting if you're older. There was a child that might have been about 3 fast asleep, but also the parents were fast asleep.
They were tired. But no, I really liked it. You go into this room and then you can sit at the back and then, well, all around the room, and then you just see the display all around you. And it was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's a depiction of his life, ideas and thoughts. So fairly interesting. I know nothing about him as an artist, other than he was the one that cut his ear off.
I think so.
That's how much we know. But it was still fun experience to have. We're going to have a look around the rest of Area 15. They've got this new one which we'll show you called, do you know what the experience is called? Shopping?
Megamart or something?
Megamart. Looks really, really fun. It is super packed and busy. We'll show you the queue now. So yeah, that goes all the way up towards the middle of the building. I think it's relatively new. It is just after July 4th. School kids are off, and it's kid friendly, so it's going to be a lot more busy. The Van Gogh one was no queue at all.
No queue, and the great thing with that, you go in for whichever time slot you book, but then you can stay there. They say you can stay there as long as you want, so you can just hang out, chill. They bring you drinks in there. Not sure, you could have a nap like we saw people doing. Just finished Area 15. We went to an arcade area, which is only for over 21s.
Yeah, and they're very hot on it. Immediately you walk in, and the guy rushes over. He's checking everybody's IDs, and I still find it really strange here that drinking is taken really seriously, but executing people isn't. It's just like a pastime. And interestingly, because this is an update where we can talk about it, I keep giving Selena little snippets of how many murders happen. And then over the 4th of July weekend, it's just a free-for-all. Just 200 and something people murdered for fun. It's just sport at this point. And it's so bad now. The people that think sensibly are like, this is out of control. Anyone that doesn't think we've got a problem with guns, there's something wrong with you, don't talk to me. That's how far it's come, where people are just so put off. Because people, when you read the comments, it's interesting. Oh, do we really have a problem with guns, or is this bad people doing bad things? Oh, there's bad people in England, but surprisingly, hundreds of people don't die every day. So it's quite funny.
So we should mention it was 4th of July weekend just gone, so we wasn't really sure how busy it was going to be here because it's Wednesday today, and a lot of people end up taking that week off following 4th of July weekend. As just mentioned, lots of people have lost their lives this weekend.
Yeah, literally, as in not, we're exaggerating, hundreds of people across the weekend, they just go crazy. There were 20 mass shootings on the weekend, which is just mind-blowing.
And
for the
keeps
rest
pointing
of us.
out that most of them happen in Chicago.
Yeah, 40% of them were Chicago, which is, I didn't know that at the time. I know it's quite bad there, but I found this out this weekend. I don't think 40% of the 40,000 people that are murdered each year are in Chicago, but it just happened to be over the 4th of July. It's quite bad. Right, anyway.
So yeah, we had
do
our weekly update. We missed it at the weekend because Ant was poorly. So now we're doing it in midweek. But nonetheless, we're doing it.
That is, again, like, I don't even know. It's probably like 46. It feels
it's very warm.
Very hot.
And you know it's hot if Ant says it's hot, because he doesn't tend to feel it up until, I don't know.
35, I'm fine. It's normal. But I wouldn't want to work out or do too much out here. It's crazy hot.
I should mention that I've had this week off from work, so it's Wednesday, and I've taken most of the week off. I'm planning to spend the week mainly sorting out our green card, which has been a process in itself. The filing, and I think I mentioned this in one of the comments, just the paperwork for the filing is a lot. It's nothing compared to the L1A, and as I understand it, it's really important to get that application right, because if you don't, they can do something what they call an RFE, a request for evidence. So if they do not believe that the role that you're in meets the requirements, so the evidence I have to gather is essentially proving that I am a manager or an executive in the company and that I have executive authority, to the point where they even want to know the qualifications of the employees that report into me. As an example, do they have a degree? And it's interesting for me because I never look, when I hire people in my team, I look at their skills, experience, do I think they're right for the team? The degree they have isn't at the forefront of my mind ever. So when the attorney said to me, are all your employees, do they have degrees or masters? And I said, I actually don't know, because it's not something I have truly considered. I knew one of them had to, because she's similar background from me, came from medical, so she would have had a degree. But the others I honestly didn't know. But anyway, I was there searching on LinkedIn, getting their CVs, checking, hoping they had a degree so I can get a green card.
It's really strange. They're creatures of process here. The process is still crap, but they are creatures of process. It's not just the government type stuff, but you'll find anything here, they can only follow one set system, and it blows their mind that other people don't have to do that. So I can see how, when doing that, it requires evidence that is completely irrelevant in the real world and in the modern world, because we joked about, imagine if you happen to be the manager of somebody like Zuckerberg. They'd be like, well, we don't believe you because he hasn't got a degree. Come on, it's so silly.
This day
and
age.
Unfortunately, that's the system that we're in at the moment.
And so on that, I've completed the questionnaire, and this week I aim to get all my paperwork done, hopefully tomorrow. But I will do a dedicated video on the green card process as I get through it. I'm literally only filing evidence at the moment.
The other thing that we're trying to do, we've started the process of buying a house in the UK, but there's all kinds of hassles. So we can't go back at the moment freely. If we go back home, we have to apply to come back in. That's issue number one. Issue number 2 is we now have to use an expat mortgage, which requires more documentation, more proof, more evidence. We can't just get a normal mortgage. What other issues have we got? Communication time.
Yeah, so it just took ages for them to even get back to us in the first place. It was very, very strange. We've never had that issue. And then obviously the main complication is that we're here in the US and we can't freely go back home, which we touched on in the last video about how to move that with the L1A visa. Because of the current travel ban, we're not on a green card, which means we can't freely leave the country.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can freely leave. We just can't freely enter.
Yeah, we don't necessarily know that we can get back. So that's in process. We're trying to work out the best way of managing it. Once we find the best way, we will be 90% going through of getting another UK property.
Ended up leaving Area 15 because it was getting very hot, and I was holding Ant's water bottle, which is metal, and every time it kept hitting me, it was like getting extra hot. It's 45 degrees, and yeah, I think even the camera equipment was getting quite hot just being out there. So we decided to come home, and we are sitting in the pool. And was just reminded me that I've not used the pool yet. I don't know why. Just don't fancy it, to be honest. I haven't fancied. But at some point when I fancy it, I'll use it in the summer. In terms of other news, we have a website that will be released shortly, which I'm really excited about. And I've actually taken a lot of enjoyment out of building the website. So we're doing it ourselves. We haven't hired somebody to build it and do the website for us. I've been doing it. It's the first time I've ever done that. And the idea behind it is that we share the content in a different format. We've got the vlogs, but then we're sharing so much information around the move to the USA, how to move, our stories, and we thought the website would be a perfect combination to share our stories, pictures, the vlogs, but also a place that you can go that, as an example, on the healthcare video, a lot of that's quite hard to digest, and sometimes you just need the information at hand when you're making that decision about your medical plan. So I'm hoping that we can share some cheat sheets and documents on there. But also, if you prefer, like me, I'm somebody that likes blogs. I was more of somebody that went on blogs as opposed to vlogs. So now we'll have the best of both worlds, I would say.
We've also been out on our bikes quite a lot. I've been out slightly more because I go out sometimes in the daytime when you're working. But we are going out. It's just, it can be difficult when it's 45 and over. And what's weird is when you're actually riding, so it can be 40 degrees, it's not that hot. But the idea of going out knowing that it's going to be super hot puts you off a little bit. Not as much as when it's raining at home, because I just will not go out. And when it was cold, I tried going out when it was cold one time, and that was it. So he was trying to arrange a surprise birthday party for me and saying, "Oh, go out and ride with your brother." Absolutely not. I'd made the mistake of riding the week before. You couldn't pay me to go outside in the cold. It was that horrific. It affected me for about 4 hours.
Whereas at least with the heat, you are willing to do it.
Yeah, and then I'm fine when I come back.
And it is surprising with the cycling. I've gone out and it must have been plus 40 degrees, and it's not, you don't feel it in the same way, not like I am right now filming in 45 degrees.
So that we've been getting in. I've been doing way less working out, so I've been out on the bike more than I have been in the gym.
Yeah, in fact.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Just had a week where I didn't really feel like being in the gym, to be honest. But what else have we done? Not what I have done, but this week on Friday, I'm going back to the DMV. I'm going to be redoing my knowledge test. In fact, I've booked 2 tests. I'm not 100% convinced I will pass it, so I've booked a test for this week and next week. That's how much faith I have in myself. But I do think it's likely that I will pass because I've understood a bit more and seem to understand the questions. I think my issue was interpreting how they ask questions, and speaking to you, it's given me some idea of what they mean by the question. There were some things I genuinely didn't know, and when I repeated them to Ant, you didn't even know. When I can't remember
some of them.
There are some weird ones in there. But to be honest, there's so many questions. The likelihood of those coming up is low, and if they do come up, there's so few of them that you should have been fine on the other questions. It's only if you happen to get all of those ones. I've
got a lot more that even when I repeated to you, you didn't know the answer. But we'll see what happens on Friday.
Nobody's resolved my issue. So
Yeah.
I don't have a license. I've tried contacting Homeland Security, but they only deal with requests in which you're trying to get an update because you need your update number. So it's impossible to resolve my issue. So there's no issue with my immigration, as it turns out, because I sent my what's called EAD. Finally got that to them. They've accepted it this time and given me a receipt.
We signed it.
Yeah, but I can't get a license here because there's some discrepancy between the DMV and the DHS, and neither of them will be responsible for communicating with each other. I can only get through to the DMV, who tell me ring the DHS. I can't get through to the DHS. So that's it.
He will never have a state ID,
Yeah.
most likely.
Or
maybe when we get the green card, then we will solve that in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, so hopefully Selena gets hers, so we've at least then got one.
Yeah,
state ID.
although I'm still I'm weighing up, is it worth me passing that test? We are planning our first, well, we said our first trip, no, because our first trip is actually the first trip that we've booked is to Austin for Formula One, which we mentioned a month ago.
And then your colleagues have invited us
to Houston,
Yeah.
or somewhere in Houston.
which,
I'm not sure where.
and then if we go off on our tangents, very, very, this is how amazing America is. So this is why we don't want it taken as a bad thing. We go to one dinner with this person. They immediately say, please come over to our house, we'll cook, we'll eat, we'll have a good time. We met them one time in real life. They then say, oh, by the way, I've got a homemade or home-built sniper rifle that shoots a mile. Do you want to shoot? Okay. We don't kill people, or I don't kill people, so that was just part of the conversation. And we're sitting there like, what the hell?
That was quite funny.
So the need to say, we're not the, what would you say? We're not the people-killing Texans. We're the other ones.
Oh dear.
The fact that he said it without us.
That was quite funny. That was the most hilarious
And then
part.
they also said, because I said, oh, I've seen the pig hunting. He said, oh yeah, it's a big thing that has to be done out there. He said, we'll go up in a helicopter and we'll go pig shooting in a helicopter. Come on. This is the thing
Anton
with
was
America.
sold. He was like, yeah, this sounds great. This sounds like an experience to be had.
And then once he confirmed that it wasn't to kill me or other people,
yeah,
happy.
Yeah, he's fine.
So yeah, that's the first trip we have booked. And then
but we're planning to go there at some point when we work out when would be a good time to go to Houston. But this year, and I was saying to Ant, I hadn't really appreciated it, although Ant had pointed out, it will be our 10-year wedding anniversary. And we actually got married in Florida in Tarpon Springs, not far from Tampa. And it just so happens, and little did we know back then, that 10 years later we would be living in the USA. We knew we wanted to, we just never knew.
We had no idea the way to get here, no.
So 10 years later, here we are living here, and we'll be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. And we've decided to go to New Orleans for our anniversary, somewhere I've always wanted to go. I'm not sure if you've ever been super interested in New Orleans.
No, it's not somewhere I don't want to go. There are places where I'm like, no, it's just not been something I would spend my week or 2 weeks going to there. But now I'm here, yeah, of course.
Lots of places.
There's most places I want to go. So now it's really easy to get to and considerably cheaper because, what is it, a couple $100 for a flight? Yeah,
and I know somebody who gets a friends and family discount for 4 seasons, so we've got a good rate for that. So I think we're expecting to spend about 4 days in New Orleans, and then we are planning to head over to Florida for about a week, but do the Keys. So even though we've been to Florida a lot, we've never actually made it to the Florida Keys. So on this trip, we're going to do the Everglades and just the different Keys.
It is so hot, our camera shut down. It literally just
mid-flow.
Mid-sentence. So what was the last thing that
I was going to say, the great thing about the website coming up, and this is me plugging the website for you to go and check it out, is that I do intend to document more of our trips on there. So now, as we go, we'll take lots more pictures. So not only will you get the vlog of the trips, but you'll also get a blog post and just tips and guides, and we'll see how it develops over time, I guess.
So basically, make sure you go check it out. We'll know if you have, because we get a visitor count. So you ought to see like 1,000 visits a day. And the last thing we have is we finally got our final bill, which I think, was it gas?
Yeah, only 2 months or 3 months later.
Our gas bill came through last week, which means we can now put together a cost comparison video to show people the difference between living a very modest life in the UK and living a not modest life in the US. So it's not a fair comparison, but we'll still give it to you anyway.
Yeah, that is a very true point. I wouldn't say how we're living is comparable to how we was living in the UK at all.
The house is 3 times the size. It's got 2 AC units on it. It's got a pool. It's got a pool pump. It's got a waterfall. So it's not fair to say this is how much it costs us there and this is how much it is here, because it's going to be more expensive. So I think I mentioned before, what I will attempt to do is I will give you the real, this is how much it costs us to live, but something comparable in the UK to show you a more comparable living. So maybe matching it to what we have here, and then also matching a 2-bed apartment to what we had at home, which is about the same size.
Yeah. But that's about it for the weekly update. We're planning on a food vlog soon. So we've mentioned, we always talk about food, but we haven't actually shared a lot of the places we eat. So we're intending to do these 2 days of eating where we show some of our favourite breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner places. It's our top places, I think, that we like so far that we'll do. So that will be an upcoming video. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you've been watching, maybe you've just joined the channel, do not forget, please do subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. Continue to comment. We love new subscribers that comment as well. Love learning about your journey, what you enjoy.